But here's another interesting way of thinking about this one epistemological theory that I find fascinating, and I'll explain why. It's called critical rationalism. So critical rationalism is an epistemological philosophy advanced by Karl Popper. Critical rationalism rejects the classical position that knowledge is justified true belief. It instead holds the exact opposite, that in general, knowledge is unjustified, untrue, unbelief. It is unjustified because of the non-existence of good reasons, like Agrippa's trilemma. It's untrue because it usually contains errors that sometimes remain unnoticed for hundreds of years. And it is not belief either, because scientific knowledge, or the knowledge needed to build a plane, is contained in no single person's mind. It is only available as the content of books. So it's kind of also asking, do you think knowledge is in books? It's kind of like, yeah, knowledge is in books. So critical rationalists hold that scientific theories and any other claims to knowledge can and should be rationally criticized. And if they have empirical content, can and should be subjected to tests which may falsify them. If claims to knowledge are retained, further differentiation may be made on the basis of how much subjection to criticism they have received, how severe such criticism has been, and how probable the theory is, with the least probable theory that still withstands attempts to falsify it being the one to be preferred. So with verificationism, our intuition is to have the most probable theory and the most corroborated theory, right? So it's the most likely and it's the most supported. However, Karl Popper and David Miller propose criticisms of justificationism and positivism. But, big terms. You can look those up. But critical rationalism doubts the naive empiricism of induction based on the critical arguments of David Hume. According to the critical rationalist, if there is a sense in which humans accrue knowledge positively by experience, it is only by pivoting observations off existing conjectural theories pertinent to the observations, or off underlying cognitive schemas, which unconsciously handle perceptions and use them to generate new theories. The myth that we induce theories from particulars is persistent because when we do this, we are often successful. But this is due to the advanced state of our evolved tendencies. If we were really inducting theories from particulars, it would be inductively logical to claim that the sun sets because I get up in the morning, or that all buses must have drivers in them, if you've never seen an empty bus. So their second reason is, Popper and David Miller showed in 1983 that evidence supposed to partly support a hypothesis can, in fact, only be neutral to or even be counter-supportive of the hypothesis. A proof of the impossibility of inductive probability. So again, this all seems a little strange. It's like opposite to how we often do things, but consider the claim all swans are white. To confirm this hypothesis, we can look for swans, and each white swan we find confirms the claim, supposedly adding more support. Now consider the contrapositive of the claim. So the contrapositive of all swans are white would be all non-white things are not swans. These two claims are logically equivalent. They hold the same truth value. Supporting or disproving one affects the other equally. Now we can confirm our claim with anything that is non-white. Suddenly I can perform confirming experiments immediately with any object near me. So a pen is not white and is not a swan. So this should logically support our claim that all swans are white. That's weird, right? It's definitely weird. But logically, it makes some sense. So related to the point above, David Miller attacks the use of good reasons in general, including evidence supposed to support the excess content of a hypothesis. He argues that good reasons are neither attainable nor even desirable. Basically, Miller asserts that all arguments purporting to give valid support for a claim are either circular or question-begging. That is, If one provides a valid deductive argument, an inference from premises to a conclusion, or for a given claim, then the content of the claim must already be contained within the premises of the argument. If it is not, then the argument is ampliative, and so it is invalid. Therefore, the claim is already presupposed by the premises, and is no more supported than are the assumptions upon which the claim rests. So it's question begging. So again, this is weird. All right, so here's an example. All squares have 4 sides. This shape is a square. Therefore, this shape has 4 sides. Notice the conclusion is stated in the premises. The support of the conclusion is equal to the support of the premises. And that's begging the question. Many hoped for consistency and completeness in axiomatic systems, that every true statement has a proof, even if we don't know it. The first incompleteness theorem states that no consistent system of axioms whose theorems can be listed by an effective procedure, i.e. an algorithm, is capable of proving all truths about arithmetic of natural numbers. For any such consistent and formal system, there will always be statements about natural numbers that are true, but that are unprovable within the system. So this is Gödel's incompleteness theorems. Gödel demonstrated there will be true statements in axiomatic systems that cannot be proven within the system itself. Until we find a higher order system to support a claim, we should treat such a claim as a conjecture. Okay, so key principles of critical rationalism. So that's what we've still been talking about. But they criticize hypotheses and conjectures rationally and empirically. So they try to falsify hypotheses and conjectures. And they retain the least probable hypotheses with the highest information content. So this leaves the hypotheses sensitive to future falsification. So this is how it kind of makes sense, right? You want to keep the hypothesis that is the easiest to criticize and refute, if you can criticize it, because once you criticize it, you'll have to replace it. Knowledge and truth are objective, but not in the traditional sense. We can approximate truth. So critical rationalism rejects the classical position that knowledge is justified true belief. It instead holds the exact opposite. So just like the knowledge to build a plane, we can also understand the distribution of knowledge over a human network. No one person has all of the knowledge needed to build a plane, but together we can build it. So this is an interesting thought experiment. Consider if everyone lost their engineering knowledge. They might have some beliefs, but there are only untrue beliefs left. So again, this is an experiment where like mind controlling people, taking out all their engineering knowledge, and only leaving leftover false beliefs. Although the knowledge of engineering books does not cohere with the beliefs of people, humans would eventually learn engineering skills through text, so if we had them reading again. Therefore, knowledge can exist independently of belief in books. So, quote here, scientists gain knowledge not by proofs, but by refutations of good conjectures, and by replacing them with new and better ones. These new conjectures avoid earlier mistakes, explain more, and invite new tests. So be bold in your conjectures. Be bold in your hypotheses so you can be wrong. Many points of critical rationalism appeal to me. Scientific theories are almost like evolutionary entities themselves. Theories must survive the challenge of criticisms. Like a beautiful sculpture trapped in stone, we must use our tools to chip away at the excess and retain the stable core, leading to incredibly useful knowledge and know-how. Critical rationalism is adaptable by reacting to criticism. If some other method is better, there should be a path of criticisms which guide critical rationalism to the better theory. So really think about that. So are you a critical rationalist in secret? If you believe in a justificationist idea where our ideas should be supported by true evidence, then consider critical rationalism could reach your belief system. If we listed out your beliefs, you would likely have good arguments and some criticisms of other claims. Starting from a blank slate with little to no previous information, we can present a critical rationalist with a set of criticisms leading to your belief system, assuming at least enough good reasons could be alternatively represented as a criticism of another position. So if your belief is true, then the belief should withstand criticism. So a critical rationalist can have your full belief system. So now you should consider, are you a critical rationalist if your belief system is intact? Then critical rationalism subsumes your belief system. Quite likely, you don't have beliefs which are rational, as can be, according to the criteria of critical rationalism. If you accept this epistemology, you can update your belief system to be more rational. If this epistemology is wrong, why?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, please consider checking out the full video and the series linked in the description.